Ladies and gentlemen, have I ever told you a story about Solstice the Sublime? He is our model man. And today, hold on, let me check my calendar. Yeah, today is his birthday. Give it up for Solstice, in the bottom left of Serenity. And he played the game against Godwheat, who will probably own him, but that's okay, because I just hope it's a good game. I just hope it's a good game between these two. You'll note that the minimap color does not match their actual color because they're both blue. That's pretty epic. Solstice the Sublime. That's my new name for him. He is in the bottom left of Serenity, going for a gateway open, and he is blue. Whilst Godwheat in the top right is our Palatnet blue. Terran, he's Godwheat. He donates a lot of money. He talks a lot of shit in voice chat. That's pretty much it. That's all you need to know about him. Yeah. Sometimes, I think he refed one game in Tribunal. Yeah, he refed Shopdog versus Sausage after Sausage 3-0'd him. Or no, reverse swept him. Sorry, gotta 3-0'd him after the 2-0 start for Godwheat, you know what I mean? But we're definitely going to see some interesting things in this game, and by definitely, I mean maybe. But we're definitely going to see Solstice's handiwork. Did you know that? Throughout this cast, I will elucidate the graphics which Solstice has done. For example, the Scribe. That's right, Solstice did the Scribe. Oh, and also the Mason. I know we're still going to work on like the animation and stuff, but Solstice did the Mason. Oh, and perhaps even better yet, the Vulture that's being produced right now. Yeah, Solstice did the Vulture. I mean, at this point, it would be quicker to name the units that he didn't do. Actually, that's not true. There's so many units in Cosmonarchy, but he did a lot, including the Vulture and the Mason and the Scribe. And he helped with a lot of rendering stuff, so in a way you can give him a little bit of credit for everything that we render. Balefal did the Dracodon. But it's a credit to Solstice's rendering techniques that even when you've got different artists behind the 3D models, you oftentimes wouldn't know. Like, people would probably guess this is a Solstice model. There's no shade to Balefal. It just means that there's some coherency, some cohesion. I dig it. We are going to have an expansion here off of the 2-gate, it looks like, and Solstice is going to be up against the Vultures coming on down. Just, guys, remember, if you're confused by the minimap, red is blue and yellow is also blue. So, easy fix. You can see Godwheat trying to bait him out with those Vultures. I guarantee you that Godwheat was talking some smack in voice chat, but little did he know. Balefal helped me with the Cyclops, but Solstice redid it. Well, I don't know if did Solstice remesh it completely? Solstice did a lot with it anyway, so shout out to him for that. Using the Neblime Scribe style here, just a Minesweeper Scribe, pretty good. While the Nexus makes its presence known. Look at that. Godwheat a little too slow to punish the workers. So instead he's going to have to try to punish that Dracodon, but there's not actually that many Vultures out. It looks like Godwheat wants to try for an expansion and a Trojan to drop the Cyclops maybe, but he then made an Anchor and made more Cyclops and didn't spend his minerals. So I don't know what's happening. Can anybody tell me? What is Godwheat doing? What Godwheat doing? I actually know what happened, but it's funnier if I pretend I don't. He's delayed his expansion and his Trojan so that he can make an Anchor just so that he can be safe, because he thought that the ground units would move across the map. I don't know why he didn't look at the mines and see that they were still there, so the ground units probably didn't move across the map, but he's just being safe. And as a player who has seen what Protoss can do to Terran in multiple versions of Starcraft, including Cosmonarchy, if you want to call it a version of Starcraft, maybe the best version of Starcraft, if you ask me. All I can say is, yeah. I understand trying to be on the safer side. Makes sense to me. We are going to see an embassy put to use here by Solstice. He is pretty fond. He's actually the only player that I've seen do this. He's very fond of picking up 3 Dracodons in an Envoy, which he can do now, and porting them over into the main base and just kind of laughing at the Terran player. So I feel like that's a really good move, and not very many Protosses do it. So I'm happy to see Solstice get active. Now the Warden is here to try to push this away. Some of the Scribes are being evacuated, but not all of them. He's going to need to fix that soon, and drilling onto a resource would be a little bit better for pathing out, but his Dracodons get in here in a great little opportunity to riposte this assault. Saved. Oh, so saved. Absolutely saved. Look at that. After all that, he didn't even negate the worker loss that he sustained from not making Masons and also from delaying his expansion. So far, you can actually say that Solstice is happy here. He's making a Herald, which, you know, he made. He made the portrait for the Herald, the graphic for the Herald, the overlay that comes up when the Herald moves. Man's talented, okay? Man's just got talent. Happy birthday, Solstice. Trying to think of the other stuff that Solstice has done, but I mean, it's just too easy sometimes. There's so many things. You helped me out working on the Matador, working on the Blackjack, which I think the Blackjack was a Balethal and I project initially, much like the Ecclesiast. And the Matador, I think he's basically redone it now, but I definitely. I don't know. I don't know for sure. That one had a storied history. Walking right into the mines is the way that this story starts. Looks like a Dracodon should be going down here, but I think pulling back into a little bit of a containment. Obviously, it went out over his skis against the witness timing there, but he should be able to clear out the other mines and then sort of do some light pressure, maybe expand behind this. Pretty standard fare, it feels like. More Heralds on the way. Heralds are going to be pretty good in the initial fight, but I will note that he's not mining Vespene from his natural. No Sieve in the main or otherwise either. And also no third base on the way. Those little yellow dots you see in the far corners, top right, bottom left, are actually the Biotic Bastion. So that's an interesting little feature of this map. It blocks the landing of a ministry and general construction of things with the transport, so you do have to clear it to invest some sort of skin in the game in order to make the expansion happen for you, because it's pretty safe otherwise. Flying workers can get away with it a little bit easier, especially artisans for the Protoss, but despite it being that kind of map, the Embassy has actually been pretty underutilized this game. Only the one witness so far I've seen be made from it. No artisans, no envoys. Matadors are going to be easily focused down by the Dracodons, and the Heralds are trying to do what they can to provide a little bit of shield sustain. When they go down, you can expect some attack speed increases for these Dracodons, and they're putting it to good use. Cycling back, excellent little micro display from both players, but the focus fire might have been a little bit better on the side of the Protoss that are able to chew through those cost-efficient Blackjacks. Remember, that witness is still supposed to be nearby somewhere. It looks like it was shown the door at some point, or maybe just retreated from ambient splash damage. I see it down here anyway. Actually, it has taken a little bit of damage, so there might have been a feature in there. But yeah, the Cyclops are going to help drive things back. The mine catch was pretty big. There's 3 Dracodons that were stunned there, and yeah, true. I guess you could say true to his old tactics. Solstice has been known to do the drop with the Dracodons, but he just likes the unit in general, so I think we're pretty happy with that. Unitary Union is completing for our birthday boy. We'll see what he wants to make out of it. Unarmy would be good for sieging. Architect would be good for just trying to piecemeal the army in general, and it has a pretty good siege component to it as well. Unfortunately, the mech army is starting to swell. That Palladium we saw be made by Godweed earlier is given way to a number of phalanxes. Third base on the way for our Terran. It's already done and waiting scribe arrival and player attention over there for Solstice, and it will be an Architect initially. Now, one Architect isn't too bad to deal with. No real worries there. Does look like the Heralds are not being rallied to the front, but with Zealot Amaranth, they just need to avoid being splattered by the Phalanx, and Solstice might be able to get something done, but he did lose 2 Dracodons in that fight. He popped 1 Phalanx. Looks like a Zealot went down as well, a couple of them. But overall, I would say he's trading okay. Remember, he's got that extra base that's coming online as we move forward here. Anseal for detection, pretty good for counter witness, but mostly here try to pave the way for a more safer approach. It's already lost a significant chunk of its shields. Let's see if Solstice wants to focus it down or not. The frontliners are the ones that take the initial salvo of those phalanxes, and that's just going to allow units that are going down in the sort of field of view of the Heralds. That's what's allowing them to speed up and break the engagement here. Phalanx is forced to unsiege so they can get their armor back, and then each time a unit dies in the presence of a Herald, it speeds the whole army up. It's pretty thematic in that respect. First architect is done. We got another unitary, a prostration stage, a gateway. SimCity could use some work here. For sure. I mean, how are you going to empower all this with a crucible, right? You'd have to get one right here, I guess, and maybe it would hit all of this, but a little bit arduous for the rally then. Really, Solstice is hanging with a... Listen, Godwheat's a Class 2 player. Solstice, I feel like he could theoretically be one. His activity ranges, right? But I think he's got some RTS chops to him, that's for sure. You can see here the Architect trying to spread some of the damage across. Blackjacks are pretty cost efficient versus the unattended melee frontline here that we see on display. So we do need to see some more mid-range units, and maybe even some more longer range units for the Protoss arsenal, if we're going to do it that way. But we don't have any heavier hitters on the front line either. No pariahs, no golem stack or anything. And we're a little bit of a ways off from seeing either of those. However, the prostration stage is finishing up soon, so maybe that'll open up some options. Meanwhile, the Architect is going to be taking some hits soon. But there's a second one there, and some Zealots coming out as well. Will this be enough to turn Godwheat back? I feel like the answer could be yes. Got a bit of a rally going on here, and he's slowly catching back up in terms of economics. He could be sieging these engrams over here that are trying to protect the third base, but as of right now, he's being a little bit cautious about it. I guess sometimes players will just assume that there's no extra base on the extremity of the map. I don't know why they go with that assumption, but, you know, it is what it is. It's not really that big of a deal. Tier 2 is complete for Godwheat, and he's even adding a treasury over to the 10 o'clock position. Looks like he wants to hazard a guess at this attack. There's some problems that could arise here. Anseals are already drained of energy. Amaranth's slowing things down on the approach. A pariah has arrived, and there's not that much frontline power here for the Terran army, so he gets a number of procs off in the process, and some Zealots and Amaranth still coming off the rally. The aggression is here, but I don't think it's quite reinforced enough. The Architects have not been pressured whatsoever, and the Engram just shot down all of the Anseals. So there are problems abound here for our Terran player. He is going to be forced back. The Architects... Oh, yeah, that's a unit that Delta Catamus did, but absolutely a unit that Solstice helped with, like, the rendering options for and stuff. Phalanx is DF's work, so can't say much there. Anseal Delta did, but it was helped out again by Solstice. You could say the same for the Unar that's being made out of the Unitary Union. That's a Delta creation. Devastated. Annihilated, even. Yeah, it feels like the Phalanx count is going to have a hard time pushing forward. Matadors are needed to get on top of the Architects, or maybe a Huracan drop or something while the anti-air is lacking. Here come a bunch of Vultures, though. Maybe they can do something. No armor rend for them, but Architects don't have that much, so this could still end up working out for the Terran player. In fact, yeah, he's going to be able to pounce directly on top of them all. He lost a lot of Phalanxes in the process, so Godwheat's siege potential might not be very high, but that does put him in the driver's seat of this game. The fourth base is not actually set up for Solstice. It's slowly being achieved by Godwheat. Witness in the middle of the map can't be shot at because there's nothing to shoot up. And the Engrams are going to try to riposte this initial push as the Unars come out. 2 Unars, by the way, will defeat an Anseal. Well, I guess maybe it's 3 if you factor the shields in. I gotta think about that. It might actually be 4. But if the Anseal is shieldless, it only takes 2 volleys. It can take as few as 1 volley to kill an Anseal. If there's no shields on the Anseal or minimal shields, then the Unar has its stacks up because it increases in damage as long as it remains in a stable position. Captaincies are being leveraged now, replete with apostles under construction. They actually recently saw a nerf to 1 armor and a position where they had an interesting change up to them where the you can put it as a basically the animation that plays when they die or they revive now takes longer before the corpse is considered valid or the unit is considered resurrected. And so that will make it a little bit easier, but those changes are not live in this game. So it looks like Solstice has his work cut out for him. That Pariah stayed alive for so damn long. And some friendly fire from the Phalanx there to eliminate another few. Might stagger this attack, but the Unars did go down earlier. Engram was saved by the Pariah, the Witness still being pushed around by the Apostle of all things. So it will be allowed to get to safety. Assylians are a good call to try to clear out all of the frontliners, but honestly, the Phalanxes are going to need some kind of answer, right? And if you're not going for something, especially when you're losing a Pariah in that fashion, if you're not going for something that's a little bit more air-oriented, you know, you think about Argosies or Stargates, try to respond to that. It's going to be a very problematic thing to hold. Now, maybe he can approach it when the Phalanxes are busy trying to deal with some structures up top. Remember, the Apostles are pretty low in count here, so shouldn't be able to just outproduce and completely ignore everything else. But I say that, and the Phalanxes are indeed taking their time. Now, all the Apostles have gone down, so that's progress. There's a reinforcement route coming. It doesn't look like any Apostles with them either. So we are sans Reclaimer right now. All the workers going down does bode ill for Solstice as Godweed takes the worker lead for the first time in pretty much in the entire game. I think that Unar might be stuck. Protoss players and getting stuff stuck with Crucibles, it's always been a common thing, even as the hitbox has gotten more and more generous for pathing. Zealot Architect isn't terrible. We do need some more frontliners, of course, and you probably want some more consistent damage as well. Solstice is out of gas. He's only now capping his aquifers in the main base and the natural. And maybe thinking about taking that 9 o'clock as he clears the initial rally of Phalanx that had yet to link up with everything else. I was just musing earlier when the Cyclops drop happened that it does feel like the way that you would see the colors really be confusing is if this was a Protoss versus Protoss. And, well, some Reclaimers did exist and did take a Zealot. So there are a couple Zealots, actually. So there's some Godweed Zealots here that you will not be able to tell the difference of. But that's okay. I'm here to tell that difference for you. They are different shades of blue. So there is that to think of. Mantles are coming online here for Godweed. Apostles are being added into the mix a little bit later into the game. Cataphracts being made on location over here at the 10 o'clock as the 9 o'clock Nexus is being taken by Solstice. So it feels like we're in a pretty good initial spot here for the Terran player. Nothing in the bottom right can be taken just yet. The mines have to be cleared first. Minerals to boot. Solstice could add a bunch of gateways, maybe slam out some zealots. He's going to have his work cut out for him once this Terran army is brought to bear. Exactly where the Amaranths want to go. Sirens also to try to pull those Architects forward. The Zealots jump in front. Not quite enough, though. The Reclaimed Zealot even turning its blades against its former owner. Man, that's a lot of splash damage from the Pariah, but it's not quite enough to break the Anseal stack. And it does look like the Strigas are going to finish the job onto these Architects. I'm starting to feel like maybe these two players are getting ready to wrap this game up here, particularly Godweed, as he just kind of rolls in and attempts to defeat the Protoss. The Bro-toss. That gas income really did hamper Solstice quite a bit. You could see him trying his best to send out what little forces he has, but the Nexus is all but destroyed. The Scribes are cleared out as well. And that feels like it's everything we expected from Godweed to defeat Solstice, but in reality, Solstice is a really cool guy who gives us all victories, because look at all the models he made for us. Nah, but for real, Godweed did win, and Godweed is a Class 2 player, a genuinely solid, player in terms of our competitive space. We've seen him go pretty deep in weekend wages before and everything until I turned the stream on and then he choked. Solstice just hung with him for almost 20 minutes and had some cool tech choices. Now we just need to see if he can improve on the spending department, maybe get that gas income up, then that'd be the monkey off his back for sure. There are a few other Solstice games that you might see peppered in throughout the next few uploads, but happy birthday, Solstice. I hope you appreciated yourself, your name in the lights. I was also hoping and rooting for you on your birthday to take down Godweed. Unfortunately, he had to be a heel. GG.